specialist located in southern Palm Beach County. So if you are somebody that you know is suffering in pain, Dr. Pannozzo is the one you guys need to call. And make that call today, because living in pain is no way to go through life. Dr. Pannozzo has been in practice now for more than 49 years. He's treated more than 73,000 patients for pain. He's an expert when it comes to diagnosing the pain, and he has had huge turnarounds. In fact, people living with scoliosis, he has had nearly a 100% turnaround. Lumbar pain as well. If you've got lower back pain, if you're suffering with migraines or flat feet pain, maybe pain in your elbows, your neck, your shoulders, Dr. Pannozzo can help you. And the greatest thing is he can help you without drugs, without surgery, and without having to go through weeks and months of rehabilitation. Give him a call today. Set up an appointment. It's 561-381-5800. Tune into his show Sundays, 11 to noon. And now, here's this week's edition of the Dr. Pannozzo Sports and Medicine Hour.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day. Colleen's back from working somewhere else, so we're happy to have Colleen here. Dr. Pannozzo, he's always here, or else we didn't have a show. Linda's over here on the keyboard. Freddie Santori of AM2.TV and his son, Gio, is ready and putting everything on Facebook and all the other places. So first of all, I want to make an announcement. Ready? Announcement! Starting next week, Dr. Pannozzo will be on Manhattan Cable. So if you have Time Warner, you can catch Dr. Pannozzo on Channel 34. If you have Verizon, you can check Dr. Pannozzo on Channel 33. And if you have Manhattan Cable, which is it's going to be on, he will be on Channel 1. So, Doc, you're becoming a face of the future. How does that feel?
Face of the future.
Well, the future of medicine.
Face of the present.
The cure-all. The guy that cures everything.
I can't compute that.
No, okay. let me go slow, because you know what he's going. You know where he's going today, Freddie?
Where's he going?
He's going up to his son in Phoenix, because that's the only one that can give him the pain in his back shots. Now, if a doctor goes up to see his son and says, "Hey, son, how you doing? How's the family?" He's going up to get cured. So if it's good for you, it's got to be good for the public. You were talking to me about someone who had a problem.
It's even worse than that.
He charges you?
All of our treatments have been tested on me first.
Yeah,
I'm
we know.
always getting hurt. No matter what I'm doing, I'm getting hurt. And also, it seems like if I want to figure something out, and these are all original treatments that we do. Mm-hmm. This come right out of my head and out of the research we do. Anyway, I'll get that problem. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. Anyway, we work them all out on me, and then with Paul, and we discuss it, and then that's what we do.
Oh, that's how you discovered vertigo.
Vertigo is going places.
Yes, it is. In fact, we have a lot of people.
Hold on. See,
Here comes the coach. Okay,
you guys are jumping all over the place. First of all, I want to congratulate Dr. Pannozzo for being on Manhattan Cable in New York. But because Manhattan Cable in New York do not know who Dr. Pannozzo is.
But now they're going to see him. Look how nice you look today.
Well,
I think we should reintroduce Dr. Pannozzo.
Okay.
What he does.
I'm a graduate from Ohio State Department of Physical Medicine. And that was 50-some years ago now.
Wow. You still look good, though, Doc.
Play football for them now?
Ohio Buckeyes. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah. That's a subject of conversation in my office all the time, the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I used to go there every Saturday. We'd walk across that big lawn, big grassy area with the leaves falling down. It was great. And watch the best football game you can watch.
Ohio State's a great team.
Yeah.
But I want to hear about you. Like Freddie said, a lot of the people don't know who you are.
Anyway, we practice what we call musculoskeletal medicine. This is pain problems from the top of the head all the way down the bottom of the feet. And it's mainly a diagnostic program, so we can tell you not only where your pain's from, but why it's from also. Because we have a patented X-ray that we do, and it's more of an engineer. You have to understand that back pain or any pain is more of an engineering problem than a medical problem. After you know where it's from, now it's a medical problem. But before that, you have to think of it as a weight-bearing issue. What happened to the body that it can't bear weight? It's painful now. And the other way to look at it is inability to stretch. So in other words, you have a painful elbow, you can't stretch it, right? Well, that kind of concept you can use anywhere in the body, and it brings you to what can't stretch. All right, we're able to diagnose that area, what's doing it, and why it's doing it, and based on the symptoms and the clinical exam we do and the special film we do. And we have a book that explains a lot of it. Arthritis and other pain syndromes. It's a little messy because I'm revising the book, but it's available on Amazon, and it's really a good book. You really ought to read it. It's written for the patients. In other words, it explains what your pain is, what your symptoms are from, and it's all in here. And everything you want to read about, you can read about it.
And there's no footnotes in there because you're the expert.
There's no footnotes because these are all my ideas.
Right.
And everything could be found.
work.
Everything could be found by visiting the website,
Right.
Pannozzo.tv.
Yeah,
And
Pannozzo.tv.
what is the other website?
Pain centers nationwide.
Pain Centers Nationwide.
Or Pannozzo.com will
Pannozzo.
get you there.
Well, let me spell his name. So some people say they couldn't get to it. It's Pannozzo. Now, you
Yes.
can also find him on Pannozzo.tv, where you can see a lot of the things that he's done and know a lot of these
That's
people.
the streaming TV.
The video is in there. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about are very controversial, but they have been proven because the people on this show, which is done in Riviera Beach here in Florida, are all patients.
Oh, yes.
We've all been treated for one ailment or another.
Yes, we break it down to design and function. You can't treat something unless you understand the design of it and what happened to it, what it's supposed to do, and why can't it do it. And you're talking about a shoulder, knee, hip, lower back, neck, migraine. It's a pretty new program for us, but we take a migraine out in one treatment. And you say, how is that possible? Because we know where it's from. But usually you're treating a headache, you don't know where it's from. A headache is a symptom. It's just a pain. But we figured out where it's from and how to deal with it. We went back to the anatomy lab at the medical school. It's very safe to do. Nice result. And it's almost immediate, like 2 minutes. I mean, and somebody's out there going to say, how is that possible? It is possible if you know where it's from, and you can go directly at it. Then, almost by accident, vertigo is from the same place. And baseball players have that. Golfers have that.
Jason Day had it.
Older people have that. What?
Jason Day, the golfer, he was in the round to beat Jordan Spieth, I think it was, and he just passed out from vertigo. And they didn't know whether he could finish it. And he did finish it, but you could see the difference. He was dizzy and shaky. Yeah, it was rough for him. It really was.
Now, we could take that pain out.
And never come back.
Real fast. And it will not come back.
So a lot of people in New York are going to say, when they see this show, they're going to say, well, let me ask you a question, Dr. Pannozzo. I'm going to ask that because, as you can tell, folks, I'm a Brooklyn boy. And Freddy over here is a Brooklyn boy, too.
Yeah, we're from the Bronx.
In fact, we're the two guys from Brooklyn.
Two guys from Brooklyn.
So they're going to say, well, let me ask you a question. My doctor said if I take a shot in my leg, I'm not going to have, I could get cured. It'll cure the pain. But that's temporary pain. If it even does cure the pain.
That's a blocker, correct?
Yeah.
You can't get a shot like that. You have to know where it goes and why it goes there. So people always ask me, what are you using? We use a material that's been on the market for 100 years.
FDA approved.
All FDA approved.
Yeah.
There's no. This is the baseline of good medicine. Everything else is not. That means surgery is not good medicine. That's a failure of treatment and diagnosis.
Let's see, it's 168,000 people that have gone for surgery that didn't need.
A lot of surgery should not be done. As a matter of fact, all these knees that are being done, you know that, talking about a knee, that when you have bone on bone, so to speak, they tell you that, it's really scar tissue about this long, about 3 inches long.
3 inches long.
The knee, my knee, is like 16 inches in circumference. So you see what part of the knee is actually affected is a very small part, and they're throwing the whole thing away. Does that sound good to you for New Yorkers? No, it cannot sound good to you. I mean, it's a failure of treatment, as I always say. Surgery is always a failure of treatment.
Well, someone that I sent to you who had 2 knee surgeries up in Denver by, quote, very big doctors, and you're treating him now and getting rid of his pain.
Yeah, he's almost done. And it was just scar tissue after the surgery.
Right.
So you don't have to suffer from that. See, glad you brought that up. Orthopedic surgeons are not trained in musculoskeletal medicine like I am. They're trained in technique, surgical technique. And there's not much diagnosis there either. Why take a knee apart and operate a knee when the problem is mainly on the outside of the knee? That's where all the pain is. It's never inside the knee. The knee is pain-free. You ought to look it up. Go to the library or ask anybody you want to. There is no pain fibers inside the knee. That means ACLs are not there. That means cartilage isn't there. None of it is there. It's all on the outside. It's connective tissue. And once you treat that, then all that pain leaves.
And you've treated this, right? It's not, over the years. How many years have you been in business?
Do I have to say?
Yeah, you have to, Doc, because, that was not a real bell.
Well, in that case, the more you do, the better. So it's 53 years.
53 years.
And we wrote most of what we do is original thought and original treatments that we do, my son and I.
99% cure rate.
Not, sometimes more than that. Well, for instance, you can't leave the office with the same pain you walked in with.
Right.
You say, well, what does that mean? It means you cannot leave with the same pain. I'm going to ask you, is that pain gone? And if you say no, you're coming right back in, and we look at it again.
Well, one of the things is, Freddie, and a lot of the people that will be watching this next week, is that I've watched people that came in with something that really wasn't something. So let me explain what that is. Someone came in who went to a podiatrist, again, not knocking any doctors, and she had very bad ankle pain. So Dr. Pannozzo, why I was there, because I brought her in. They complained, I bring them in. And she walked, and he looked at him and says, it's not your ankle. So while the podiatrist says, it's my ankle, I'm going to have to get a couple of shots and get a boot. And he says, it's not your ankle. And she said, and he said, it's not your ankle. Gave her a shot in the back, and she walked and said, oh, my ankle doesn't hurt anymore, Doc. Will it be okay tomorrow?
It's diagnosis again. So what we do is...
That amazed me, by the way. That I've seen a lot of the work you've done, but that really got me.
Do it all the time.
I know.
It's pain patterns. It's knowing what causes what symptoms. You have to know that. Mm-hmm. And you have to have the anatomy, the physiology of the anatomy, and the failure of that anatomy. You have to know where that pain is going and where do you feel it. And... I don't know what else to say. It's just a science, and why? It's reproducible and predictable, so that's a science. And so it's from headache all the way down to the feet. Flat feet, most people don't treat flat feet. They put a
boot,
an insert.
Orthotic.
An orthotic, which doesn't do you anything at all. My idea of an orthotic should be progressively improved. Not being that way for the rest of your life, so you walk around like a seal.
Well, tell your story when I brought you in to see Dr. Pannozzo as my guinea pig.
Well, it's funny because when he brought me in, I said, "Well, why didn't you go?" I want you to go.
I didn't have a problem then.
I had ankle and I also have flat feet. And Dr. Pannozzo, actually, I do have an arch now. I got to come see you to make the arch bigger. Yeah. But it does, and it's a painful process regrowing an arch. It's not something that did not hurt.
Oh, why is it painful?
I don't know. I was going to ask you.
I'm going to tell you. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, okay.
And it's in my hip.
This is not a rehearsed show, as you can see.
It's in my hip, Doc.
The foot, you know how many bones are in the foot? I can't even count them. But
got to be 100.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Every bone is connected to another bone by a ligament. That's why there's so much pain there. And the commercial of the diabetic pain, that's baloney. It doesn't happen. Diabetes causes less pain, not more. So the pain is coming from local ligament structure. So you have to know how to approach it and where it's coming from, and then we do it. We're treating a fellow now who had misshapen foot. You could not believe it. You couldn't even see where the foot was. It was so misshapen, it was swollen like that from a previous surgery. So we're gradually knocking all that scar tissue down and getting all that tissue to resolve itself, take the swelling out, and he's looking like a foot now. So everything is treatable if you know how. Our specialty knows how to do that.
Well, how many years now? 56. I'm sorry, Freddy, I didn't mean to interrupt. How long have you been doing this?
53, I think.
I guess he must be doing something right.
Well, Doc, when I inserted that, and I kept it, and you says, keep wearing it. That's the secret, because a couple of weeks down the line, I was in pain, and I didn't want to call you. And this is a true story.
Oh, I
I'm being
believe
very
you.
honest. I said, okay, maybe it's because it's moving. So I kept with it and kept with it. Do you know when I don't wear it now, it doesn't feel as good as when I wear it now?
Yes.
Now my body
Absolutely.
is cut. I have an arch in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave me the shots, which removed the inflammation that I had in there.
Yeah, if you know where to put a shot, you're better off doing that or accepting it. If you're a patient, the reason is that you can put a lot more medication where you want it rather than going through the mouth. When you have a ligament problem, which most of this is, it doesn't have that much blood supply. How do you get the medication into it?
Mm-hmm.
It does.
It's a
very
real
slow
problem.
process.
It's a real problem, and I solved that problem by developing the shot method. But at least you know what you're getting, and you see it in 2 minutes. And if I'm wrong, you'll know that in 2 minutes. If I'm right, you will know that in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
The amazing thing is that you
It's-
find
it's-
find the area where the pain is. This is addition by subtraction. If you subtract where doctors shouldn't be looking, and you add where you should be looking, you will resolve the pain.
It's very, the way you said it, it happens to be very, very smart. The way you said it, it's exactly true. I mean, I suffered, I had no pain, and then all of a sudden I went away with my wife, and I said, Doc, I called him up on Monday, and I did what everyone else did. I know the man for 2 years. I had to write my name on on the list. And I came in, and he said, what's the matter? I said, I don't know, I think, where's your pain? I showed him. He said, okay, he gave me a shot. I said, wait, I still have a pain. He said, where? I said, right here. He said, that's your groin. He said, okay. Pressed down. I said, oh, Doc, I think you found the pain. He gave me a shot. Now, all these baseball players, football players, soccer players.
Groin injuries.
Groin injury. And I could tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, I walked out of the office 85% better than I walked in. The next morning, I was 100%, and I was on the leg machine. Now, I don't care what anyone says. That's revolutionary. Not because...
Well, you're pointing out a very important thing that
Yeah.
people should understand. The surgeons do not do diagnostic work.
That's
they
exactly
do
right.
procedures. You got to understand what you're paying for. They do procedures. Who does the diagnostic work? The trainer? What does the trainer know?
No.
You don't know anything about this. I mean, they're great trainers, whatever they do. But how do you know the nuts and bolts of the body, how it works? I spent a lifetime studying this stuff, and you think somebody's going to come out of trainer school is going to know how to do that?
And you went to one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country, Ohio State.
It's just craziness,
Yeah.
You got to get.
Well, trainers are trained to get the player in less pain. You're trained to resolve the issue. And therein lies the difference, because they go down compress and ice, and more compress and ice. I mean, I used to be part of that old school.
You can't even get to it.
That's
Do you know
right.
where a disc pain is? It's in the middle of the body.
Oh,
I was
really?
discussing this with a chiropractor one day,
Who you take
And-
care of, by the way.
which I'm treating. But he said, well, you don't like chiropractors that much. I said, it has nothing to do with it. We're talking about technique. We're talking about diagnosis and how you treat something. You can't, if somebody has a real disc pain, which is called an annulus, by the way, how do you get to it? What's in the middle of the body? That's why I use a shot, because I can get to it that way. Otherwise, I couldn't get to it either. So you have to understand what the diagnosis is and what you're trying to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what the diagnosis is before you can treat it, before you can have a good result. And otherwise, you're just wasting your time and money.
Yeah. And well, not only are you saying it, and Freddy, just so everyone knows, in Manhattan, so this will be a new thing for everybody. The gentleman next to me, Freddy, was a coach, a little league coach. He was also a coach for a professional football team. Mm-hmm. So tell us what you experienced and how you could have saved a player if they knew who Dr. Pannozzo was. I mean, you must have gone through where the MRI said ACL. The MRI said a disc problem, and you did whatever the doctor told you, correct?
I did whatever the trainers told us.
And then what happened?
Well,
you lost the player.
It used to take 6 months, sometimes 6
Sure.
weeks, depending on what the injury was. But Dr. Pannozzo, you said in Little League and Pee Wee football, if you're
And
a parent,
professional football for a couple of years.
and that brings me up to another point. We're putting the show in New York, not because we're trying to solicit and say, hey, we're here.
We don't sell anything.
We're just trying to be informative. If you have children that play Pee Wee football, baseball, they should have a Dr. Pannozzo look at them, because he's able to tell you where they should play, can't play, and how they can't react to certain situations.
Right.
Case in point, the scoliosis, inflammation of the back, in the knees, in the hips, in the joints. Children are like rubber bands. They want to play. They just want to play. Some you can see their gait doesn't allow them, Doc. And the child like that comes to you, you'll be able to give him more mobility, or he doesn't play, and he doesn't get hurt. Now, would you rather have your child get hurt and walk away from the game?
Well, here's what happens. They go to the general pediatrician to get examined for sports. Does a pediatrician know anything about this? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I mean, they're not trained in it. In medical school, you don't get this training. You just don't, because the orthopedic surgeons run that, and they don't tell you anything. Well, first of all, they don't know that much about diagnosis and physiology.
That's not their job.
They do procedures, and they'll show you the worst looking knee that you'll ever see in your life.
And where do they show you? From what? Is that MRI?
By a slide. It's an MRI or whatever it is.
Right.
And you never see that again. So every time you get a shoulder pain, go to the orthopedic surgeon. What does he do? Well, it's a rotator cuff. That's baloney. Rotator cuff does this. This is how you test for it. See?
Well, we had 3 people that I brought in for rotator cuff, and you had them cured in one day.
Yeah.
One day.
That's true.
Of course it's true. We're not going to lie, because I'll give you the names of the people if you don't believe me, and they'll be more than happy to say it.
Yeah, I'm not paying you extra for this.
No. Yeah, speaking about that pain, Doc, we got to talk later. No. But,
well, things like
true.
scoliosis, things like vertigo.
Scoliosis is all an injury. The faster you get that, the easier it is to treat it.
You know what?
I'm
Freddie,
treating an 88-year-old lady with scoliosis.
Oh, I met that lady, the short, yeah.
Well, she's tall now.
I got to see her again, because she said, God bless you.
Straighten up.
I know, really. It's amazing. I saw that lady. Well, I've seen a couple of the people.
We had a 24-year-old.
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
We tried to treat her scoliosis, and this was affecting her, a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
And the insurance company refused to pay for it. Why did they refuse to pay for it? Because it's a unique approach that is not part of their lexicon that they talk about all the time.
Which
so
is
I had to
sad.
show them when I sent them a letter, how the approach went from structure to structure. Every day she was in was a different structure that we were treating. Why? Because the ones we treated were no longer a problem. They were straight. In other words, the whole back was improving really nice. It was well worth the money, because they would have spent, this insurance company is going to spend a ton of money on this.
$96,000.
Well, an MRI was practically more than what we charged.
Yeah.
All of that.
$96,000 for scoliosis, and that's rods. Well, you showed me the one that she had with the rods and the screws.
This was a 13-year-old.
Yeah, it was a 13-year-old one.
What a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame.
The psychological damage
Terrible.
that those things create in itself, it should not be allowed. It just shouldn't be allowed.
No.
Well, there's nobody who has their hand on the surgeon and says, don't do that. They don't ask for an opinion from somebody else either. It's whatever they say, they do it. And that's not good either. I mean, how do you improve the population when you're doing anything you want to do? You should learn from other people. That's how medicine improves for everybody. Because you learn from this guy, you learn from that guy. This guy's right, this guy's not right. That's how you learn.
So if people up there in Manhattan understand that if you don't believe what we're saying, you could actually go to Pannozzo.tv and actually see X-rays of young people and older people who have gone to Dr. Pannozzo.
That's right.
I saw a lady, the one that from England, who was told by one of the most prestigious hospitals, this is her talking, not me, one of the most prestigious hospitals in England, said, we got to do surgery. She came to him only because her son was using and still uses Dr. Pannozzo. And I think, how many, what was it, a couple of months
About 3 or 4 weeks
And her
in
back.
total.
Freddie and I walked in one day to see Dr. Pannozzo, and she got mad at Freddie and I because she said, "Don't you guys say hello?"
I didn't recognize
It was the English accent that I got right.
I didn't recognize her.
She
at all.
grew what, 2 inches, 3 inches from that?
At least 2 or 3 inches, and her scoliosis was half or less.
Less. Because
I mean,
the
she
husband
really did well. But
the husband brought in the brassiere.
Yeah.
Because he used to snap the brassiere.
Right.
It was like this little comedy thing they had going. He says he can't do it anymore. It doesn't fit. It's too big.
And the beauty of it is, I guess when people get rid of something
listen,
like that, they start putting makeup on and
listen,
different
psychological.
clothes.
if
Yeah.
you have a daughter, usually it's a daughter,
Yeah.
but sons too, that have a curvature, take a look at your kids. Have them bend over. You can see a curve real fast on these kids, especially the younger ones, because there's not a lot of muscle there until they get over teenager years.
Does it affect more women than men usually?
Usually girls more than boys, but you can actually see that curve. Now, when you see that, it's one bone stuck in the other in the wrong place.
Mhm.
So when it's stuck on the right, you have a curvature to the right. When it's stuck on the left, you get a curvature to the left. And the body will make an automatic adjustment to that curve by rotating. And you get straighter and straighter the more you rotate. But when you get up to the rib, it's turning your rib cage. So now you got a hump in your back. All of that's reversible.
I know it's hard to
Every
believe,
bit
right?
of it
But
is reversible. And all you have to do is bring somebody in, and we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. So now, in case anyone wants a coin, I know everyone down here is watching the London game. I know that. And I'm not going to tell you the score, I promise. You can always call Dr. Pannozzo directly at his office at 561-381-5800. But you could call to make an appointment. He won't be there, but at least you'll have an appointment there. Or you can call him right now on the radio, which is 800-889-0267. That's 800-889-0267. And we're going to take a little break right now. Is Colleen there? I'm going to get ready for some more questions. We'll be back in 90 seconds. 90 seconds.
Hi, it's Leah, here to tell you about Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. He's a pain specialist located in southern Palm Beach County, so if you or somebody that you know is suffering in pain, Dr. Pannozzo is the one you guys need to call. And make that call today, because living in pain is no way to go through life. Dr. Pannozzo has been in practice now for more than 49 years. He's treated more than 73,000 patients for pain. He's an expert when it comes to diagnosing the pain, and he has had huge turnarounds. In fact, people living with scoliosis, he has had nearly a 100% turnaround. Lumbar pain as well. If you've got lower back pain, if you're suffering with migraines or flat feet pain, maybe pain in your elbows, your neck, your shoulders, Dr. Pannozzo can help you. And the greatest thing is he can help you without drugs, without surgery, and without having to go through weeks and months of rehabilitation. Give him a call today. Set up an appointment. It's 561-381-5800. Tune into his show Sundays, 11 to noon.
You're listening to Dr. Pannozzo's Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. If you have constant pain and want to talk about how to get rid of it without surgery or medication, or simply want a second opinion, call Dr. Pannozzo now at 1-800-889-0267 to get your pain issues resolved. Now, more of Dr. Pannozzo's Sports and Medicine Hour.
We are back, and I just wanted to let you know, people in Manhattan will be coming to everyone's neighborhood soon. Soon on TV, you will see Dr. Pannozzo everywhere. And you know what that means, folks? That's going to give you an opportunity to get better.
When you watch this program, don't get frightened.
No? Just don't show me. We're going to take some. We have our Atlanta station that we've been on for quite a while.
We forgot to mention Atlanta.
Yeah, and Atlanta, my God, Atlanta's been blowing up. People are calling Dr. Pannozzo from Atlanta to fly down here. And we always have a whole bunch of questions. So on 8:60 a.m., you've become a national hero. So now there's a statue of Martin Luther King, and there's going to be one of you soon.
Yours will be smaller. But
Yours will be a little small, but
Smaller.
Okay. So let's start with some questions from Atlanta. Sabrina from Atlanta writes, I model all over the world. Sabrina, you don't have your phone number yet. Okay. I model all over the world and have hurt myself somehow, and my left knee hurts when I walk. I have not heard your show, but everyone around me tells me you're the magic man, and I want to know how someone can hurt their knee if she has never had a fall or an ailment in her knee.
Well, there's plenty of reasons. You can look at the hip.
Mm-hmm.
usually is where it is, and or she had a knee injury that and she just didn't remember it. You could have knock knees, bow-leggedness or knock knees is the other way. Bow-leggedness is this way. All of that's treatable stuff. It's all ligament.
Well, it's funny you did that. I'm glad she wrote that. I said to you, Doc, I didn't hurt myself. I mean, I work out with weights.
Yeah, but you did.
And no, he found out. He said, when you took the suitcase out, what'd you do?
You pulled.
I pulled it. He one thing about Dr. Pannozzo, he just doesn't give you a shot. He asked 1,000 questions. He wants you to pinpoint on a sheet that he had designed where that pain is. See, that's the difference I found out about you. You find out the cause of the pain, and mine was, and you get rid of the pain. No one does that.
You have to know the cause of it. You can't just give somebody pills and you know.
But nobody asked that question.
Do an MRI. MRIs are not that good, by the way.
No, well, we found that out.
It doesn't tell you what and why. It tells you what. It's a two-dimensional look.
Right.
But you have to know more than that to treat it. I mean, you can't treat it. You can't get the results we get by using an MRI, and that's what most people do.
Yeah. You can't control something you don't know what happened.
You cannot do that.
So, Sabrina, I hope you're listening today, and if you are, you can call Dr. Pannozzo at 561-381-5800. Now, we got another Atlanta one here from Mr. Robinson, who writes, my sister told me about your show, and I wanted more information about migraine headaches. I was told that the sun was the main reason. I had them, but I don't think that's a true statement. I live on Tylenol, not good, and wanted to ask how I can remove the migraines in the back of my head.
Well, migraines are from a joint, and specifically a ligament.
Right.
And we just put a shot in it.
Well, the sun, that's a fallacy, right? You can't.
Sun has nothing to do with it.
Right.
No, these are internal things. There was an article, I copied it down here. It says on Yahoo, it was fall season brings on migraines. And it showed somebody with leaves on their head. I mean, the whole thing is baloney.
Right.
Headaches is a symptom, like we said before. And you could have a headache or a symptom from any place in the neck, but they're all in the neck.
Right.
If you suspect there's something in the brain, why do a CT scan, and it'll be normal, and that's the end of that. You don't have to be worried about it. And we could separate the structures in the neck that's causing the headache. And the so-called migraine is strictly right here, and that comes out
on the right side, or the left side, right side,
either side.
Right.
Either side in the back of the head,
and it comes out in a matter of seconds. I mean, that's true. So you can hold me accountable. You could do whatever you want. It is true.
I know it's.
So the migraine repeats itself. And other people are attributing it sunlight or whatever.
The triggers. They're talking about triggers.
Yeah.
Oh, there is no triggers.
I worked as a lifeguard on Miami Beach for 6 years while I was going to college in the sun. I never got a headache.
You know how many magazines are sold, and these reporters are making a living on reporting triggers for migraine, and it's Chinese food. It's
it used to be
MSG. I mean, the whole
liver.
thing is
They said stay away from liver. It was liver, salt,
and what
Chinese
gives
food.
these people such knowledge? I'll tell you, as a physician that deals with this every day, all of that is baloney.
Yeah.
Don't read it. Don't absorb it. It's all from your neck.
No.
All from the neck.
Well, just to let you know, we've had 2 cases. I shouldn't say we. I sent somebody who went to every single, and she'll come on the show and verify it, who had every single doctor from Botox to different types of drugs. And what happened was, it's a story I'm repeat only from Manhattan Cable. And as I was bringing her in, she was skeptical. No question about that. She meets a lady that's 75 years old and said, I went to those same doctors. And they're talking about the doctor, and each one was going to sue him. I said, don't sue him. And she said, ever since I've been here, I have not had a headache. This girl was so afraid.
So you're talking about
the young one.
Vertigo?
Vertigo.
Oh, well, she had vertigo and migraines and TMJ.
Vertigo should not be dropped in the hands of the ENT guys because they have nothing to offer. They don't see crystals in there. They're talking about crystals.
Yeah, what is that? Yeah, I never understood that.
The whole thing is just bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nuts. So we did some work on that, and vertigo is from the same place that the migraine's from.
And they cured it.
And try it. What do you got to lose?
Well, that's what I want to say to everybody. There is nothing to lose. I'm talking about no pain, no rash, no nothing.
The latest one I heard, I had an email from somebody who said they have hormonal migraine.
A hormonal migraine.
Okay, yeah.
I laughed out loud to myself. I said, hormonal migraine? Somebody's really reaching. There's no such thing.
No, okay, that's good. Okay. Virginia from Atlanta writes, I was listening to your show on 8:60 a.m. and I wanted to know, I have very bad arthritis in both of my hands. It's so bad I can't hold a pencil to write. I was wondering if this could be fixed the way you fix other inflammations in the body. Doctors give me pills so that hold on, don't go away, so that the stiffness isn't as bad. But I would like something permanent.
The rheumatoid arthritis rheumatologists are not trained in musculoskeletal medicine, so they're going to try to help you, but it's not going to be in depth. So this lady here, she could have a pain from the elbow. Mm-hmm. She could have pain from the wrist affecting the hand. That will decrease the grip. And don't forget, when you make a fist, if you can see it on TV here, your hand goes back like that. That's what makes it grip. These muscles pull the fingers down tight. But if you can't get over there, then you don't have a grip, see? No grip. This is what happens. So I'm just showing it to you automatically. You can examine yourself.
So that's a clear case of looking in the right place in order to cure this.
You have to understand the physiology of it. How does it work? Not everybody does. I mean, you go to, you go to orthopedic surgeons or rheumatologists or neurologists. They don't understand the mechanism of what a pain is, how pain is produced.
Even tennis elbow,
and that's nothing against them.
No,
they just not in their training. You understand that training, how you work, is extremely important in medicine. If you're going to get a result, you better know what you're doing.
I mean, surgeons are trained, like we said last week, that they didn't hear it, that if the definition of a surgeon is to do surgery. And I'm not saying they're bad, but sometimes the surgery that they do, according to the Journal of American Medical Association, wasn't needed.
Right.
How do you know you're going to the doctor that says that to you?
I don't want to get involved with that.
No, we don't want to do that. I'm just letting you know. I read the Journal of American Medical Association, read all the articles. If anyone doesn't believe me, they can just go and do what I did. Look up knees. See how many knees are thrown away.
You have another question?
Oh, you're in a hurry. You played this
want to touch that subject.
Okay. Mike in Atlanta writes, I've been running for many years and now have been told my knees need to be replaced due to wear and tear. I'm 73, God bless you, Mike, and do not want anything replaced at this time of my life. Can an old timer like me go see you and still continue to run without surgery and rehab? I'll be listening to your answer. Okay, give me his answer.
Absolutely.
Why? Tell Mike.
Because the pain in the knee is not in the knee. It's on the outside. So if it's capsular, you can treat that. Mm-hmm. If it's referred from somewhere else, remember, a hip will place the knee to do its job. If it places it in the wrong place, you're going to have a knee pain. I just saw a young guy this week. Same thing. The hip was turned in, and every time he would walk or run, the knee would have to move more to compensate.
Wow.
And that's why he had the knee pain. So I treated the hip, and the knee pain left.
Amazing.
And was he amazed?
It was amazed.
They're all amazed. That's the thing.
That's the thing. I get amazed. When Doc talks about hamstrings, I still have people writing me about that. They can't believe it.
It's true. Everything I said is true. Everything I say is true.
Yeah.
I never.
No, I'm saying the hamstring is an amazing fact. From the Jets, the guy didn't play at a hamstring pull. Ivory, he didn't play last week. Hopefully, he's playing today. But these are NFL players. They're bigger players.
Well, it's in the hands of the trainers.
Yep, that's right.
Do trainers know anything about diagnosis? No.
Neither do the doctors that are treating him.
I think the owners of the team should get wise and say, if I'm spending $100 million on a player and I want him on that line, they should call you.
Well, even besides that, let's forget about the sports for a second. Let's talk about the human being. I mean, you have a hamstring and it hurts and you're not playing the game that makes a livelihood for you. Let's talk about him for a second. Let him make a decision. Forget about the owner for a second.
Well, the owners don't really get involved with the team.
They don't.
They own the team, and they hire somebody to do the job, and they just sit there and have a drink and have a hot dog and watch the game is what they do.
That's right. The owners get in trouble when players like Harvey decide they're not going to pitch. Then when they do, and they pitch very well, he's a good pitcher, but he's thinking long term about his arm. And then you have doctors and agents covering the game.
We took care of a couple of NFL Dolphins.
Yeah.
Linemen.
And one of them was, I just listened to him on the radio.
Troy.
Troy Stratford.
Yeah, he always talks about you. Always to this day.
He is really a nice fellow, very articulate.
Very articulate, very nice, and believes in you wholeheartedly.
And one more year, he would have made several millions of dollars more had he come and see me. He retired because of a backache.
And he was a running back. So when those guys get hit a lot, well, you had a player that, I don't know, Cleveland Browns or something, that, I don't know where he played for Cleveland. Gary.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins, okay. And he said, quote, I would have bought you a Ferrari if I could have gone one more year. And how did he come in to see you? Pretty beaten up, right?
Yeah, he did. He was carried in by his girlfriend.
He was carried in.
They literally carried in. He couldn't walk.
Don't say his name. We don't want to embarrass him.
No, we don't.
No, he wasn't embarrassed him. I spoke to him. He said...
But he's got a program on, too, I guess, in Palm Beach here. So
nice.
Listen to him.
These are really just nice people, and they're easy to talk to, and they say, hey, you know what? Troy
they're public figures also.
Yeah. And Troy said, you ever want me to come on and tell everyone about him? I will, because I can walk now. Okay, let's go. So we got an answer, so I want to now go to the other people, because I want to get them. Joey from Google Plus asked, I have pain in my upper back by my arm blade, and the doctors tell me there's nothing wrong with me and want to send me for an MRI. Will a sprain show up on an MRI?
No.
Okay. Tell Joey why, so at least when he goes to his doctor, he could say, I was told it doesn't show up.
Well, MRI is almost an X-ray, and you don't see anything but bone.
Okay.
And you have to know the connectors, where they are, and how they cause pain. So you have to know that. MRI is probably the least useful test for that. A clinical exam tells you more if you understand it. Now, anybody who sends you for an MRI, obviously they don't understand what they're talking about, because they should have diagnosed that before that.
That's true, I guess. I mean,
use an MRI to verify your clinical. You don't do it the other way around. And as a consumer, you got to know that. When you go and see the doctor and he says, I don't know what's wrong with you, but let's get an MRI, go to another doctor. Don't mess around with that guy. Good advice.
All right, we'll take another one.
Hey, listen.
Oh, go ahead.
Anybody out there that has a story, MRI story, I'd like to hear it.
Yes.
800-889-0267. Give us a call.
Or they'll go to chat box. If
Or the chat box.
Don't want to call us, go to chat box.
Chat box on Pannozzo.tv. But that's 800-889-0267.
Okay, let's get another one. Well, you know what? If they don't want to call, we don't care. We got so many calls from people just texting in what they want. Bobby from Facebook asked, how long will fixing a bad hip take? And I was told to rehab after you do what you do.
What does rehab mean?
Yes,
they throw this term around. What?
They want to rehabilitate.
Who does that?
Well, what happens is that when you have an injury and you go see a doctor,
well, here's what
they send you to a guy that moves your knee around and puts ice. That's called rehabilitation.
He wants to know, can I walk out
Not when I trained, it wasn't. No. I'm the rehabilitationist, not a therapist.
Well, here's what he said. He says, will that mean I can walk out of your office pain-free?
Yes, it depends on how bad it is. I mean, if it's just a simple piece, yes. If it's not, then it'll take 2 or 3 days.
It's like you explained to me with the groin. It was 5 areas. I was lucky that you got it in 2.
Hip joint is rather large. It's this big on everybody, and it's surrounded by ligament, and that's where the pain is. It's never in the joint. I mean, if you get a shot inside the joint, and any joint, it's not going to help you because that's not where the pain is. I've explained that. There's no sensory fibers inside any joint.
And I guess they're calling.
I guess they're calling right now because they don't believe us. Is that a New York number?
It's a Florida number.
Well, tell them they have to call back.
I'll call you back.
We'll call you back. Okay.
We'll call you right back. We'll call you back in 15 minutes.
Now we got a couple more here.
Oh, wait a minute. I got a question about the hip, Doc.
Go ahead.
The hip is a big, big area.
Yeah.
Okay. And Steve, I hope you're listening. Sometimes it takes more than a couple of visits to get it all out. It doesn't mean it's not getting better, But we
No,
have,
it gets better every time.
right. But it's like the scoliosis. You showed me. She came back a number of times.
Right.
It was a huge area.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's like the Atlantic Ocean, and
Yeah.
you have to sort of get in there.
We're kind of
piece by
limited
piece.
on what we could do. We don't want to do too many procedures on people. We don't
Right.
want to give them too much medication. Let's just do the worst that you have of that day, and so you don't suffer too much. Just come in, get it done, and you're going to be okay.
And little by little, you remove chunks of it.
Chunks
Because
of
I
it.
noticed with the lady from England, it was about the third visit that I saw that whole thing turn. I said, holy mackerel. I thought something happened to her, and she looked.
You should see the younger ones.
Oh, he showed me that
quicker.
If you're amazed at that, when you see a 16-year-old
Yeah.
like that,
It just
right in
pops.
front of your eyes.
Oh, it was amazing.
Oh, it's
He brought me to the office and said, Wes, look at this. This is when she came in, and he showed me the actual movement. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, look at this. It's so hard to believe that it's true. I want people to understand it is hard to believe. It is, until you see it for your own eyes. When you see it at your own eyes, you go, whoa. How the hell did
Now,
he
why
figure this out?
why is that possible?
We don't know,
Well,
but I do.
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you
And
asked.
somebody
I'm
knows.
glad somebody did. That's
It's a piece of scar tissue holding that bone like that. And it took me a while. See, I've been treating painful problems for 58 years. I mean, you're talking about 70,000 plus people
77,000, I think. Now.
between Paul and me, and I had about 50,000 of those myself.
Right.
And I'm not talking about treatment. I'm talking about people. And so what happens is you have to have an injury first, and then you get an inflammation of the ligament structure, and then you get a scar tissue there. And that holds your bone just like curved or like this or like that or rotated. So once you know that, you can find it and put a steroid on it, and it comes right out just like that.
And never
just
goes
in
back.
front of your eyes.
Never comes back.
It doesn't come back, and you're always going to another place.
Amazing.
And what happens to the scar tissue? It's absorbed by the body. Where does it inflammation go?
It just inflammation just is cells, It just resolves itself.
And then right into the body.
Right.
Now, Doc, I'm going to bring this up, and I know I'm going to hate myself for bringing it up. But
Well, let me hate you for that.
no, it isn't
once,
that.
okay.
Is that you've said something to me about a year ago. Because a lot of people tell me, well, Freddie, I never had any injury. And I've seen that people forget they've had injuries and yada, yada, yada. But there were a lot of things, and we're not going to go into all of them for this one show. But during the birth of a child, when my son was born, when little Freddie was born, they put these big clamps on him and yanked him, forceps, and they yanked him
Yeah.
out of the birth canal. I mean, yanked him. His neck got about 6 inches longer
Yeah,
when they ripped him out.
there's consequences to that.
And this is my question.
The
Hold on,
pediatrician-
don't use that word. That's
What
what I
word?
don't want to use. I don't want to talk about that right now
What
because
word
it gets
was that?
everybody crazy. Don't worry about it. But what about this, Doc? Because you put this in my head. When you yank a child out of a birth canal, a lot of bad things could happen,
And they do.
and they do happen,
Yes.
which explains a lot about what you've been talking about for 50
Right.
years.
Well, let's go back and who takes care of the child? The pediatrician.
Correct.
Do they know about musculoskeletal medicine?
No.
Absolutely not. They know nothing about it. They depend on the orthopedic surgeon.
Mhm.
They don't even have a conversant relationship with it.
That's true.
They just don't get it. So now, what happens? You get autism, which every one of those kids have headaches. They have bad neck, every one of them. And it shows up at 2 years because that's when you're walking more and bearing weight. And that tissue is going scar
Wow.
like that. HDAD. I just saw an adult, and I was telling the mother, I said, he's 42 years old. He said, HDAD, well, he's had headache then. Now, he came in, and I found his headache. He had the C5-6 annulus and a COC1. He had 2 reasons for having that.
It's amazing.
And he grew up like that. And
So-
the older you get, the less symptoms you get because you compensate for it well, but you still have it. So all of these kids have headache. Now, who's treating them? Pediatricians, physical therapists, PhD types, psychologists.
Yeah, right.
And who looks at them for the musculoskeletal
None of
aspect
them.
that I'm talking about?
None of them.
None of them.
I asked my son's doctor when they yanked him out of the canal,
Yeah.
can there be damage to doing this? Because they couldn't get Freddy out. He had the umbilical cord around his neck. He came out a little blue in her. I says, what is the damage? Because that was my biggest fear. No, they rebound well. Children rebound well. And you believe this stuff.
Yeah, of course you do.
Until you see all this. Now, we're not saying that all these things will happen, but what I'm thinking about, just like you found the vertical piece, and you help people now with that. And
You
there's
said the
no
key thing.
denying that now.
They're afraid
You
of
found
questions.
something that works.
We found something that's world class.
Yep.
That's right.
You can't get this stuff. What I'm telling you, you're not going to get it. If you were, I always use this analogy, I don't know why, King of Saudi Arabia, with $1 billion in your pocket, you could not get that done.
That's right.
Anywhere in the world.
And that's
You
the
could get
key.
it done in Florida.
And that's the key. All I'm saying, for those that want to argue with me, I'm not saying that that is the answer to the problem, but it might be. I'm just saying maybe we're not looking in the right place. Just like the vertigo, right? Just like the migraine. Maybe we're just not looking
Well,
in the
Freddie,
right place.
how many people? I mean, look at it logically. People aren't going to say to their pediatrician, "You're wrong."
You're wrong.
They're afraid.
You're the
But
doctor.
You know what?
You're wrong.
Dr. Pannozzo told me the two things you don't leave up to anybody is your money and your health. You are in charge of making your money, and you are in charge of your health. You can't. You have to question. My wife questions everything, and that's why I'm still alive.
Well,
I
how
mean,
many people lost their money by letting somebody else handle it?
exactly.
It happens every day.
Happens every day.
You never want that to do it, and your health also. It better make sense. when you hear about
Nobody
it.
questioned Madoff. Here's the money. Oh my God, he's the greatest thing that ever put on the earth.
One of the real fallacies is cancer pain.
Mm-hmm.
There is no cancer pain. These people with cancer have pain like everybody else. So who's treating it?
Oh, you're right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
They're given narcotics because it's cancer pain. What do you mean cancer pain? You better know what you're talking about when you say cancer pain, because it doesn't happen.
And narcotics only work on the brain. It doesn't work on the
Right,
pain,
so
on the
you could
body.
have-
Blockers.
You could have a bad shoulder. You could have a bad hip, a bad knee, a bad back. You could have, the normal pain that everybody else has. In addition, you have a cancer. Remember what a cancer does to tissue. It erodes it, replaces it, destroys the nerves to it. So
Eats
how
it
can
alive.
that be painful?
Yeah. Me too.
Well, let me take a couple of questions from people out of the state of Florida. Again, we got someone from Boston, Massachusetts. She said, Janice, thank you. I went to your website and saw your show. I have never seen anything like this. Can you tell me how my hip may be the reason why my doctors have not been able to remove the pain from my left leg in over 3 years? All they talk about is surgery. I'm tired of surgery.
Surgery of what?
Thank you.
Try to get a guarantee. Try it.
You won't? Well,
won't.
hold it a second. You just brought up a good point. Everyone listening, especially the people that go to their website, the Dr. Pannozzo's website, which is Pannozzo, you are the only doctor in my 73 years on this planet that guarantees you walk in my office with pain, you walk out of my office with pain, and it's for I treat you for the symptom you came in with, and you'll never have that again. How many? I want you to say that word. You guarantee.
I guarantee it.
When have you heard that, Freddie? You've been around for a long time.
No, I've never heard anybody guarantee it.
In other words, we just don't guarantee anything over the air. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be examined. You go through
Right.
the process, and I tell you what you have, why you have it, and I'll say it's going to take this and this and this, and you'll be pain-free. If you say yes, you get it. If you say no, you walk out with the same pain you have. But we will guarantee it at that particular place.
Right, not a
But
new
not
place.
right now over the air. I mean, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
No,
when I-
in other words, if you come in with a specific pain, he will get rid of that specific pain. Don't call up and say, well, I have a pain in my left leg. And he says, yeah, but I treated you right.
Yes.
Okay. The specific pain.
Let's be grown up about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, just understand it, folks. You know what? If you come in with pain, all I can tell you is there's nothing worse than pain. I'm going to take one more call. Colleen, show me we got 4 minutes less. Let me take the out-of-town ones. Captain McDonald, New York Fire Department writes, I was in the Army. I was on AMP2.TV network and read you are going to be airing some shows in New York City. The New York Fire Department is looking out for your show. Boys from other houses are asking about knee and other ailments for you to cure. I have a bad right shoulder that was injured 3 years ago in a fire. I can lift my arm over my head, and it limits me on the job. How long and how fast can it be fixed?
Well,
You got to see the patient.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do that on
If it's a what was it again?
Can't lift the arm.
he can't
Can't lift
his
the arm. Oh,
his shoulder.
well, the shoulder now. If you can't,
I kind of got that too, Doc.
if you can't do that, it depends how bad it is. It'll take 1, 2, or 3 visits. I had a lady that took 10 visits because she had nothing, absolutely nothing. But she was happy after the 10th treatment, and we just saw her again. But it wasn't the shoulder that we treated; it was the neck, referred over the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, these things work, and when we guarantee it,
You can take care of it.
We'll
Hey,
take care of
Les, are you going to offer people that want to fly down a stay at a hotel, see Dr. Pannozzo and flying back up?
Yep,
You putting
right.
that package together?
Yep. All they got to do is make the appointment, tell us when, and we'll have a hotel waiting for them, and give them a little brochure of what's the sites around the area. That doctor, yes, there's no problem.
Hey, here,
So
come down
anyone that
and-
wants to come down, make your appointment, and we will take care
So
of
let's
it.
give
You
out
take
some
care of
phone
the
numbers.
airlines. We'll take care of the hotels. We're going to pay for the hotels. We'll tell you what hotels to stay around the area.
Or you can make it a package.
Yeah, whatever. So just
Depending on what the prognosis is.
the beach is there.
Yeah, we're right on the beach.
And some of the greatest restaurants in the world are 5 minutes away from Dr. Pannozzo's office on Atlantic Avenue.
Downtown
Downtown
Del Rey.
Atlanta. What a great place
It's
to
a
go.
unique place. You should, if you come down here.
And where else to spend a vacation if you're coming down from up north, Gulf? That's another thing which we will talk about next week with Dr. Pannozzo. So now, if you want to make an appointment to see Dr. Pannozzo, he'll be away for a week, but it's always good to get an appointment, and you'll take calls, right, Doc?
Oh yeah.
It's 561-381-5800.
Yeah. Remember, pain is a very personal thing.
Yes, it
you
is.
should always talk to the doctor. Never a secretary. And I have no secretary. I talk to everybody who calls me.
And you know what? Could you imagine this? You make a call and you get Dr. Pannozzo, and he'll listen to you on the phone and tell you, I think you should come in. When you come into the office, the only person that you meet is Dr. Pannozzo. Now, you might think that's a little archaic, but you know what? You find out exactly what you want to know. You ever hear that thing that Seinfeld says? He sits out in the waiting room for an hour and a half, then he comes in and goes to the little room for another hour, and he wants to, why couldn't they leave me in the big room where the TV was?
That's right.
You don't get that with
You're
Dr.
getting a
Pannozzo.
little closer.
It's first come, first served. 581. Oh, I forgot the number. 581.
561-381.
5800.
Yay.
As you get old, you start losing your memory. What's your name? Oh, Colleen, right. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Pannozzo, have a safe trip up there. Say hi to Paul. And Manhattan Cable, thank you for joining our network, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day. Have a great life. God bless you all.
This has been the Dr. Pannozzo Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. If you spend 5 minutes with Dr. Pannozzo, you'll see he genuinely enjoys helping others. Visit Dr. Pannozzo online at www.paincentersnationwide.com or call him at 561-381-5800. Dr. Pannozzo will consult with you to determine the best solution to your pain needs. 561-381-5800 is the number to call, even if it's just for a second opinion. Join Dr. Pannozzo next week when he brings you more important information on the physical